Gareth Jones. My student number is 17052246. I'm here to talk about my experience and year for my live performance workshop in contemporary music performing, BEMA's degree in University of South Wales. I'd like to first talk about cheat sheets. What cheat sheets are is just a small piece of paper or a little document, or what I use now is a little display on my iPad that you can refer to when performing live. Just have it in front of you, next to your pedal board. If you're a singer, then you have it, by the monitor, wherever you want it. And it's just like a little safety blanket when you're performing, so that you know exactly what you're doing in terms of dynamics, in terms of the scale patterns, when you're meant to stop, how long the bars go, how long the bars go for, and it's just nice to have that little idea and little overview of what you're meant to be doing for that song, as there would be quite a lot of time between the exam and then when we first started learning these songs. It was nice to jog your memory, understand what we did in the course when we were playing the song, and what we did differently in terms of the start and end. Because one thing that John told us, which stood out to me, was that the endings and the beginnings need to be perfected, because obviously the opening, if you have a great opening, it kind of gets the audience ready and listening and ready to hear what you have, whilst during the end it's nice just to end it like a big kind of strong ending, or everybody's together, where it just doesn't fizzle out or fade at all. It just needs to be really strong, and most of the time our songs ended on a fade out in the recording tracks. So then when we went into the rehearsals, we kind of figured out different ways to learn what to do in the endings, just make it a lot stronger and just like a definite finish. We studied 4 genres for our year in live performance workshop. Started off with blues, and then rock, and then soul, and then funk, not in that order. I'm going to talk to you first about rock, which made me improve my improvising skills quite a lot in the beginning of the year, because that's something that I wanted to do straight away, because I've never really looked at improvising that much before, but it's definitely something I want to go into if I want to carry on with music later on in life, which I definitely do. So the way that I would improve this is that if we were performing a certain song, I would look at the chord progression and look at the type of scales that are relevant diatonically to those chords. For the most part with rock, it would be pentatonic scales, major blues, minor blues, and sometimes Dorian. Dorian's quite nice. I use Dorian quite more for like blues stuff, because rock is usually AC/DC. It's usually like all that jazz. So it's quite simple in terms of the content. So it's quite nice to have somewhere where you can start off having quite easy solos for you to work on before moving onto blues. So blues was kind of one of my favourite genres to perform for this year. I really love blues. It's something that I've done pretty much all my life, in terms of B.B. King and Gary Moore. B.B. King was actually one of my favourite songs that I played on this. It was How Blue Can You Get? I learned the entire solo at the beginning of this song, which unfortunately we don't do live. We kind of skip it because it's a bit too long, so it's a bit unfair, on the singers when performing it. But then to learn it, I would listen to it on Spotify and try and transcribe it from there and listen to what's going on, and any fast phrasing I'd just spend more time going over, and then I'd play it slowly, try and get the phrasing right, and then gradually speed it up to get the level that I'd like to. I could have just played it straight away 100% speed, but then you kind of miss out on some of the phrasing, which is kind of key with B.B. King especially. One thing I could have done in the future is go on YouTube and slow the songs down, just so then it's easier to hear the certain phrases that I needed to. This is something I kind of used in later on with Never Too Much by Paul Jackson Jr. because quite a lot of fast licks on there I didn't know, so I just slowed it down straight away just to transpose, made it a lot easier. With Soul, I found mostly focused on my right hand technique. It was most enjoyable to perform backstabbers. That was a fun one to do. I especially love the C minor 7 tremolo at the beginning. That part, I just love it. I don't know why. But obviously, it's done by the piano first of all, and it's quite hard to get that speed with just a plectrum. So then I used the flamenco technique called rasgueado. Don't quote me on that pronunciation. Which allowed me to kind of get that speed that I liked. This flamenco technique I've been doing for quite a lot of years now, so I do like to do it, but I would like to improve it later on, especially when we're studying Latin. I could have played this with a pick, however, the sound would be too crunchy. It's much easier to get a cleaner sound when you're using this flamenco technique. In terms of funk, I loved funk because I'm a great Nile Rodgers fan. It taught me a lot on getting those dampening notes, make sure the dynamics are correct, so you know the just to try and get the dynamics the same as the starts. This took some practicing to get up to speed. However, slow down the tempo just to improve it, just really focus on the tone of my guitar. My sound is usually neck pickup, you know, I roll back the tone a little bit, add a bit of compression, and hey ho, you sounded like Nile Rodgers, especially with that tube amp back there, the nice little hum. Mind focus? Yeah. Okay, assessment preparation. I would usually do 2 hours per day performing, and then I'd split this up into small sections just to make sure I'm improving all around. I would spend 20 minutes on music theory, 20 minutes on sight reading, an hour on the songs that we were learning, and then go back to the areas that I needed to improve. I could have just, you know, gone over sight reading for an hour and that was it, but I found that kind of splitting it up would make you gradually improve a lot instead of just improving in one area for a small section at a time. Also, for all my songs, I made sure I had a cheat sheet just to understand what we're doing and refer to the band as well to see what they would like to do, just to make sure we were all on the same page when performing. For the creative arrangements, we are doing Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Straight away, I looked on YouTube just to refresh my memory of the song, and then looked at any covers that people have already done in terms of like different kind of styles of genres. I looked at Guns N' Roses and Motorhead's styles, which, you know, they're all quite different. But with my band, we went for kind of a straight metal sound. So then I got the OD1X and stacked it on top with the Blues Junior. Obviously, I got a Blues Driver, and then I got a noise suppressor just because I didn't want that. You can kind of hear it there, the little hum. And then in terms of the chords, the entire way through, it's pretty much which isn't that interesting. So then I kind of more improve on the strumming, you know, and I end up going even in the beginning at bar 10, I would we would do a little Iron Maiden, you know, which kind of just set up the song and then made it all metal, and we love doing it. Also, in terms of the metal theme, we included 2 solos. We could have just done the one, but, you know, like having 2 solos kind of like ramps up and has that kind of like special moment where you can go from 10 straight up to 11 in terms of just how hard and heavy you're doing. Doesn't change lyrically that much, but for the beginning we included the verse just to kind of play around and see what we could do in terms of that. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the video, and see you guys soon.